Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye up, bye up. In the menudo style and direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you guys. So, for those of you that have been in prison, how do you know when you're celled up with a psychopath or a sociopath or someone that's just fucking lost their mind that's crazy, right? You never know. But when you find out, how do you get out of that cell? You can't just go knock on the door and tell the fucking cop that's walking by that you need to go, because that's considered a PC move. Is it your house or his house? Or are you going to let him make it his house when it should be your pad, right? It's a shared pad. You got to understand, when you're celled up with someone in the California Department of Corrections or any other prison, that is equally your house. And usually you and your cellie must defend that house. You must keep that house clean. You got to have proper cell etiquette. There's certain put some fucking water on it, homie. Put some water on it when you're taking a shit or whatever you're doing in prison. I'm just being blunt. I'm giving you some knowledge you can't get in college. But whatever happens, if you get a cellie that's a psychopath, well, we know about Jaime Osuna and the guy that got celled up with him. We all know what happens. And if you don't know who Jaime Osuna is, man, believe me, the guy that got celled up with them knew it, felt it, and is done with that, right? That's someone you definitely don't want to be celled up with. But quietly, word on the curb is the Vato's only 2 feet tall. He really ain't that much of a maniac. He really ain't nothing, but a mind is a powerful thing. And when someone loses their mind and goes crazy, they start to hallucinate. They start to see things that aren't there. They start to really fixate on you. See, I've had many cellies. Good ones, down-ass homeboys that were cellies, dumb ones, J-cats, fat ones, short ones, blind ones, midget ones. I've had a little bit of everything. That's just how it is when you've done an extensive amount of time in prison. Now, I got 19 years confined total. So within them 19 years, man, I've been in dorm settings. I've been in cell settings. I've even been in day room settings where they had overflow when you slept in the day room. I've been in 3-man cells, 2-man cells, 1-man cells, depending upon the state I was locked up at. It's been an ugly situation. One thing you have to do is understand that your cellie is a human being too. And he might not be just like you and might have the same type of characteristics or education or thinking. So you have to adapt to it. Okay, being celled up with a psychopath, there's nothing you could really do but sleep with fucking one eye open, right? Imagine going into a cell where this motherfucker's cutting himself, playing in his own shit, all these things. I've been around that. I remember starting in the youth authority, I had a bunkie. He was from Clanton, 14th Street. He was a Southsider. He was my bunkie. They had a tall wall and a short wall. The tall wall meaning double bunks. The short wall was single bunks up to a certain point. There was a break in a concrete wall and then it started to become double bunks. And I was double bunked up with the Southsider. Yes, indeed, man. He was from Clanton. And this vato used to fucking cut himself at night. He was all into Satan worshiping, all kinds of weird shit. And I remember I used to fucking go on the side of the wall and I'd be like, make sure the homies weren't looking. I'd be like, psst, psst. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to do it too much because I didn't want him to think I was turning into a serpent down there in Flash, right? He'd be like, what's up, Essay? I'd be like, okay, I could do without the essay, but look, what are you doing, right? He's like, oh, no, I'm doing my rituals up here. And I was like, oh, shit, right? There was no getting away from him. Every time I went to score to chow, that was my only getaway. But of course, because we were in a dorm, his top bunk status, I didn't have to see it if I didn't want to see it until the fucker dripped blood all over my fucking bunk. And then I was like, oh, hell no. You know, he was leaning a certain way, you know, whether it was his religion or what he truly believed in. He was slowly losing his mind because of incarceration. I've seen a lot of people lose their mind. But when you have a cellie that's a true psychopath or sociopath, if you don't know, oh, you're going to find out very quick. The best thing to do is get off where you're mad at. Okay? You can't go to the door and tell the cops, hey, he's got to go. You know, you just make him go however you need to make him go before he makes you go. It's hard to sleep at night. I've had a couple cellies. Let me tell you about one. Okay, being celled up with a psychopath in the California Department of Corrections. Now, the first cellie I had, he was an Italian dude. Okay, that's when I knew this motherfucker was different. Okay, and he actually ended up being cool, but up until that point, I was real skeptical, nervous around this motherfucker. So I walk in, he looked like Wile E. Coyote, right? He looked like a mix between Homie the Clown and Wile E. Coyote. The motherfucker's nose was pointed. He had bushy ass hair. Looked like, hey, homie, don't play that. And he had these big, thick bifocals. And as soon as they set me up with him, I said, oh, this motherfucker's a chow mouth for reals. I could tell just by the way he looks. He wasn't. But that was me being uneducated and judging a book by its cover. He was an older gentleman, probably about 60, and tripped me out because he had a heavy accent, an Italian accent. He was straight up off the island of Sicily. The Vato was different. So what does that make him? Not Italian, Sicilian. I don't know. Same shit to me, right? He had more blood in him. So he had curly hair. Anyways, I remember walking into the cell, and this motherfucker was sitting cross-legged like a native, right? And he had his food on his top bunk, and the motherfucker was rocking, praying over it. Hallelujah, 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 right? And I was like, oh, fuck no. As soon as I walked in, I was like, oh, this ain't cool. Something ain't right. I couldn't turn towards the cop and tell him, hey, I need to get out of here. No, I just got to deal with it. So the way I was taught, being a YA baby, like, I'm going to sock this dude right in his neck if he acts stupid. So, of course, immediately I put my paperwork on his bunk. Boom, right? Now, some people take that as disrespect, setting anything on their bunk. So I did it. I say it all gangster, but really I like slid it on his bunk. Put it in front of him. This motherfucker didn't stop. He was in mid-seance, right? He was like, hallelujah, blee, 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 blee. He looked at the paperwork and like blew it away. Didn't want it by his spinach, right? I had my tray. When they brought me to the cell, they gave me a tray. So I sat my tray down. I've already put my paperwork. Haven't said one word to this dude because he's in a trance, right? So I'm eating. And I'm already contemplating, fuck, man, I just got in here and I'm going to have to sock him in his whole headpiece, right? Damn, right? Now, you can't just judge a book by its cover. He might fuck around and whip my ass. So all these different emotions are going through my head. And I'm thinking, damn, man, I should have did the Wes Watson and cheeked a piece or hooped it. But I didn't. All I had was my pipa, a fucking tray. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to hit him in the head with my tray. So as I'm eating, he steps up out of his trance. He's like, hey, what's up, bro? How are you doing? And the way he talked, he was intelligent, you could tell. And I was like, hey, what's up? And then he's reading my paperwork. He's like, oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Solid. Then he starts eating spinach. Now, this guy has 1.21 gigawatt seconds to show me his shit or it's going to get ugly, right? So I'm like, what are you in here for, bro? Right? You know what I mean? I need to know that right off the top because I'm not going to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? So I'm like, what are you in here for? He was like, oh, bro, it's a long story. I said, well, you know, I've always liked story time, you know. Now, that was a red flag. When he says it's a long story, that means it might be a minor story, and I'm not with Drake, right? So I'm like, I'm more on Kendrick Lamar shit. So I looked at him, I was like, hey, you not like us. You not like us. Like, I'm going to stab you, bro, with your own spork. So he's like, oh, I said, like, yeah, man, I wouldn't mind listening to the story. So he goes, okay, it started off one wonderful evening. I was like, oh, man. If this motherfucker don't get out of here with the wonderful evening shenanigans. And you could tell his mind, he was reliving it. The fool was licking his lips like Mr. Criminal and all kinds of wild shit, right? He was on his LL Cool J shit. I was like, oh, fuck. And he was like, it started out one lovely evening. I got home and I sat down to a glass of wine and a Hungry Man meal. And I was like, okay, well, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Them Hungry Man's hit different. So I'm like, I've done that on many a night. I don't know about the wine and shit, but a Hungry Man sure hits different. So I'm kicking back, and he's like, he was like, I started to hear some noises from my bedroom, and I already knew what it was. And so now I'm starting to realize, okay, this motherfucker's in here for murder. Has to be. I'm starting to put the pieces together. I've always been like that. Like I could put pieces. I ain't Dog the Bounty Hunter. I ain't gonna go find you when I know where you're at, but I could kind of put the pieces together. So he's like, and so I sat there and I ate half my meal and I contemplated what I was doing. I was like, this sounds like the movie Shawshank Redemption. Motherfucker, either you did it or you didn't do it. And so I asked him, I'm like, so what'd you do? He said, oh, I did it. Oh, I did it. Right? I was like, oh, shit. His glasses started to fog up and shit. His hair started to uncurl and get straighter. I was like, this motherfucker's turning into the Exorcist right before me. I was waiting for him to say, get behind me, Satan. Get behind me. And I was about to get the fuck on his head real quick and do something bad to him. No diddy, right? He was going to be in that motherfucker like Meat Mill, minus the fucking dick going in the asshole, like, because I was going to be on his head. And he goes, so I gradually gravitated towards my safe, retrieved my firearm. Meanwhile, he's doing this in a Sicilian dialect. So it's hard to understand every word, but I'm getting the gist of it. The gist of it is he went and grabbed a gun. He's about to do something strange, right? So he goes, I grabbed my gun and I intelligently made, and I'll talk like he did, I made the conscious decision to murder my wife. I was like, all right, cool. Like, what'd she do to you, homie? Because I'm not into just killing him on GP, right? That ain't gonna fly in here. He goes, so as I walked up my steps elegantly, I was like, oh, fuck. He goes, I proceeded to hear the noises were getting louder. So I could only imagine what she was doing, her, the vibrator, and the TV, but it wasn't that. Oh, it was a young black man in that cell, right, with her. I say cell because he left it bloody like I was about to leave this cell bloody, right? So he went in there and basically shot her. I shot her in her liver several times. And then I arranged him next to me as I finished my hungry man meal. So right then and there, I'm in a situation. He's in on a solid case. He puts his paperwork out there. It's about that thick. The vato did exactly what he said he did, right? What do I do? This guy's a maniac. Then he goes in to tell me, I said, well, all right, cool. You know, I mean, you're not in on no weird shit. I mean, it's weird, but it's not the type of weird shit that I should whack you. But it's not right, right? I don't know. I was in a conundrum. I was stuck in a situation. That's the word of the day, conundrum. I was in a situation of some knowledge you can't get in college. Like, what do I do here? The vato's fucking a psychopath. I could tell. Hey, he's drooling and shit. Spinach is falling out of his mouth as he's telling this story. Let me tell you another fable. I was like, damn, this vato acts like the crypt keeper. Let me tell you something, kiddies. I'm like, nah, I'm cool with all that. And he tells me, hey, yeah, I have my own practice. He was a, what is that called? Massage, not a massage therapist, man. He was a chiropractor, okay? And so he's like, yeah, I was a chiropractor. I own my own business. You know, my wife had been cheating on me for a long time. I just got frustrated that day. I just exploded. I ended up killing her. I said, you ain't the first celly I've had done that. I understand. Women can do strange things to men and make them think differently and lose their mind, which this guy basically had lost his mind. So we start talking about his chiropractic business. He's like, you want me to pop your back? Not necessarily. But he was like, no, don't worry. Lay down. Let me pop your. I said, no, I'm not laying down. Motherfucker, you just told me a fable, right? And you're fucking, can you even see through those glasses? He had to wipe them several times because they were all steamed up. I'm telling you, there was something not right. He was a pure psychopath. He ended up popping my back, right? I did one of these, you know, where you stand and pick you up. Don't get too close. Don't get too close, Wes, right? And he did his thing. And then I remember there was a tear tender. He was walking by the cell. And he was like, damn, bro, what are you guys doing in there? I was like, it ain't nothing weird, right? And come to find out, he was like, hey, I'm a chiropractor. And then I was slinging chiropractic practices for $10 a shot. Motherfuckers were running up in the cell getting their back spot. He was the first psychopath. I'll just tell you guys this. That night, I didn't sleep comfortably. Not at all. Not whatsoever. Okay, so the next celly I had, I've spoken on him plenty of times. He was more of a J-cat than a psychopath, but there was something wrong with him. And that was the homeboy, Discúlpame. And I've talked about Discúlpame. If you're new to the channel and you don't know who Discúlpame is, then you have to go in the archives, man, and find the videos about Discúlpame. The most craziest, weirdest celly I've ever survived through, right? This guy had the wall sweating. The pictures of Pamela Anderson peeled off the wall. I mean, literally, this vato worked out so much. Discúlpame, homie. Discúlpame. As he did his máquina, that fucking pictures on the wall would either curl up or just slide off the sweat of the wall. That's how much he worked out. I was in that motherfucker trying to breathe like through the window. It was all bad. He said, can I have the floor, homie? I said, sure. 8 hours later, hey, discúlpame, can I fucking eat? Bro, fuck, you've been fucking working out for 8 hours straight. This vato was a maniac. He just worked out the whole time, just with his eyes like this, like he was tweaking. Discúlpame. Discúlpame. Right? I was like, yeah, you're excused, man. I'm not tripping, right? Anyways, here's probably one of the weirdest cellies that I talked about. I've told stories about how he went to the yard and he got into some discrepancies, right? And he ended up ultimately getting cut up. Homies couldn't take it no more. They're like, this J-Cat gotta go. He was considered not necessarily a psychopath, but I slept with one eye open. Damn near. Okay, now the worst celly I ever had was a white man. Okay, as far as being a psychopath. This dude used to tell me stories about licking up animal blood. I mean, he was different. Okay, a lot of them, I think he was just trying to get the scare factor in there. He was just trying to act like he was tough. But I'll never forget. So he was from Vacaville. He was a big fat fucker from Vacaville, not named Little. We can't say his name because if I do, they won't turn this green, right? And this motherfucker's my celly. They put him in there. He used to be a homeboy. So at this time, we were both active norteños. He ended up falling off before I did, man. And he was gone, right? That dude was gone in the head. But he gets in there and he has vacas on his stomach. And he has all these tattoos. But he's a straight white dude. Gray beard, a flat top. Like, he looked like a Marine that they kicked out of the Marines. You know what I mean? He's just a fat ass, right? And I know I'm not trying to fat shame people, but I'm just being real. I don't know what another way to describe him. We can call him fucking pork rind, whatever. So he gets in there, and another one that sits Indian style on his bunk and rocks. Why do they all do that? Looking at me all crazy, right? I was like, what's up, bro? Are you safe or what? Are you feel good? He was like, no, bro, I got asthma. I'm just trying to breathe. I was like, well, eat better. Like, eat salad or something. You know what I mean? I think your stomach is blocking your esophagus. Something's going on there, bro. To what degree going on there, I don't know. So anyways, he starts telling me these stories. He's like, hey, I'm going to tell you a crazy story. And I was like, all right, fuck tales from the brown side. What's happening? So I'm sitting down there like, all right, what's up? I already cleared him. His paperwork was good. He was a homeboy, right? He was waiting to get cleared by the household, but as far as in the cell, he was cleared with me. You know what I mean? He was a big motherfucker too. I wasn't trying to test the abilities of the clearance process. So he's sitting there rocking the whole time. He's like, yeah, bro, so you know what cat blood tastes like? I said, oh, hell no, right? This motherfucker's different. So he went into this elaborate story how he got attacked by cats, which is crazy because I did too. I don't know if you guys have heard that story before. I told it in the past. I got attacked as well by some cats. I know motherfuckers don't believe me, but it's the truth. They knew I didn't like them. They didn't like me. They got off where they were mad at. I went to the homegirl's house leaking everywhere. She thought I got jumped by Southsiders. Unless them cats were from the Sud, like Pepe the dog, I don't know. But anyways, so he starts telling me all these stories. So he's like, hey, I had a dream last night. Now, the dream he's talking about happened in another cell because this is his first day in my cell. All this happened on the first fucking day. I'm like, yeah, what's up, bro? He was like, yeah, I dreamed I killed my cellie. I said, oh, no, good Lord, right? I ain't even gonna lie. I contemplated dropping out right then and there. I'm having a heart, guard, I can't breathe, right? I almost didn't breathe. But I immediately kept my back to the wall like, oh, this motherfucker's different. He was like, no, I wouldn't act on it. I wouldn't have, maybe I'd act on it. I was like, bro, I'm about to act on this knife in your stomach. That big fat stomach, you're not gonna have to worry about breathing anymore. You're gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be A-okay. So this motherfucker's like, I wouldn't do it, but if I ever was in a position where I had to do it, I know I could. I was like, dude, do what? What are we talking about doing here? Because, you know, I'm talking about doing the Humpty Hump and getting the fuck up out of here, bro. Like I'm gonna stop what I'm doing because you are about to ruin the image and the style of the homies that I am used to. You look funny, homie. I'm about money. You see, I'm gonna get out. Hey, I'm see the world. G. Now gather round. You're a new fool in town, and if you act real stupid, I'm gonna bust your crown. Right? I was on some different shit. Remixing. I was already thinking of ways to get up out of there. And I convinced this. Now, he was a psychopath. This motherfucker was nuts. He was talking about doing things to his own mother. He was talking about, it was borderline Madonna. He was borderline, right? He was talking about, have you ever thought maybe you're your own spirit animal? I said, no, I don't even know what a fucking spirit animal is. But right now I'm about to see a spirit when I shove this knife in you. Like I was really at the brink of no return. He was turning me into a psychopath. Like I was starting to rock too. Like, okay, I'm gonna stab him. It was crazy shit. Anyways, ultimately, this dude went to showers. He seen a dude that he knew from the county jail that I guess took his cake from him, and he got off right there where he was mad at. And the homies are like, "What happened?" I was like, God happened. God has spoketh, right? I'm telling you. Being around so many crazy people turns you lightweight crazy. You ever notice this? You ever notice psychiatrists, psychologists, all that, got a little bit of crazy in them? Yeah, they got that. Being around that much crazy people and dealing with that shit turns you crazy. I have a Theo that rips his fucking hair out of his head. Smartest dude I know, but craziest motherfucker at the same time. So my advice to you that are getting incarcerated or being locked up, and I know a lot of people have a lot of crazy stories about a lot of crazy cellies, go with the flow. If you can't tell the cell, if you're an active gang member, if you're in the mix, you cannot get out of that cell. You cannot tell the cops, hey, I can't be in here, this motherfucker's crazy. They already know. That's on you to deal with it. The best way to deal with it, I can advise you, is go with the flow. Never do anything against the grain, but watch out because sometimes you might say something that might set them off. You know what I mean? You might be like, hey, bro, this is a badass jam. And then they'll be, hey, trip out on it. And he'll be like, wait up. My ears hurt, right? Now just trip out on it. And you put the thing on and go, come my baby, come my baby, do a butterfly. And then you done fucked up. He's like, butterfly, right? And that's it. And then he's going to cut you up, with a butterfly knife. You just got to watch out what you do. Again, man, imagine the dude that was settled with Jaime Osuna. I did a short and I wasn't bullshitting in my short. This is exactly how it would go down if I was settled with Jaime Osuna. Knowing what he did now, if I went to prison and I know this motherfucker ain't active, and they put me on an SNY yard with Jaime Osuna. Because I don't give a fuck. If you're a content creator, you're a non-active gang member, stop it right now. Stop faking the funk. Your punk ass is going to SNY. Let's just be real. That's where they're going to set you down at. all these gangsters, oh man, I paroled active, I'm still this, I'm still that. Watch when you go back, if you ever go back where you're going. So let's just cut the bullshit. Stop acting brave. You motherfucker, you're not Mel Gibson, right? You ain't got heart. You ain't Braveheart. So anyways, if they put me in this cell, I ain't gonna lie. I'm walking right in there. I'm setting my property down. And I'm getting a choke in this shit. Because I ain't fucking going out like that. That vato was wearing ear necklaces. That's a whole different type of crazy for me. I'm loco, I'm crazy. That's a different type of crazy compared to a motherfucker that will eat your earlobe, right? That's like Tyson. I ain't Tyson crazy. I'm not chewing on ears and shit. And I'm definitely not taking a dive to Jake Paul. Like, that's too crazy. I'm just going to be real. Anyways, if you have a psychopath setting, how do you decipher? Intuition, pray. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do, but I've been settled with some odd characters, man. I remember I got settled with one dude, and he did this all day. I was like, what are you doing? I'm trying to work my wrists out, bro. Right? I'm trying to work my wrists out. I'm like, okay. The motherfucker looked like a snake in there all day long. He was a little young homie from Windsor. Yeah, he also got kicked out of the cell. All right? Straight up, I told him, hey, bro, guess what? Woke him up one morning, had his shit packed. He was like, what's up? You're going to get the fuck up out of here, bro, or I'm going to stab you tremendously. And he was like, but what did I do? And as he's saying that, his arms are starting to go, they're just rising up by themselves. What did I do? What did I do? It's not what you did, but you're going to fucking snake up out of here. It's what I did. Get out of here. Straight up. Anyways, man, just a little video to put out, tell you some funny stories, some crazy stories, actual events that happen. Prison's different, man. You'll run into some oddball, cornball characters. Vatos that are all high-powered, walking with the sunglasses on the yard, all gangstered out. They're going in their cell talking about, ooh, 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 ooh. You know, what the fuck is wrong with you, oos? Straight up. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in. It's telling you guys the best stories on YouTube in a correct and direct fashion for all people. The gun.